Students, now let's start with a new topic in the Unit 1, that is circular flow of income. Students, we have already studied in our lower grades that there are different types of economic activities. So which are these different economic activities? These are production, consumption, distribution, and exchange. There are different types of transactions that take place in our economy. These transactions include buying and selling of goods and services. These transactions are undertaken by people. So who are these people? These people are households, business firms, and government. So what is circular flow of income? Circular flow of income means continuous flow of money income as well as flow of goods and services which takes place between different sectors of an economy in a circular manner. So when I say circular manner, this means that it takes place continuously. It's a cyclical process. It never stops. And therefore, this leads to smooth functioning of our economy. Any type of economic transactions takes place in two forms. One is real flow and two is money flow. Real flow represent goods and services, while money flow represent payments that we make for goods and services. Now both these types of flows, that is real flow as well as money flow, takes place in opposite directions. We have already studied that economic transactions takes place through households, business firms as well as government. So now let's understand each of the three in much detail. First is households. Households are called as owners of factors of production. What do you mean by factors of production? Factors of production means inputs that are needed, that are required in the process of converting or producing goods or services. So which are the different factors of production? These are four types: land, labor, capital as well as entrepreneur. Further, these factors of production, that is land, labor, capital and entrepreneur, provide their services to firms. Why? In order to produce goods and services. Now let's understand about business firms. Who are business firms? Business firms are production units that decide what to produce, how to produce and for whom to produce. How? That is by using services which are given by households. Households supply factors of production which is demanded by business firms. Further, business firms decide factor prices. Factor prices means payments that have to be given to the households for the services that they render to the firms. Now this includes rent to the land, wages to the labor, interest to the capital and profit to enterprise. Our entire topic of circular flow of income is broadly classified into two categories. One, circular flow in a closed economy, and second, circular flow in an open economy, which is also called as a four-sector economy. Circular flow in a closed economy is further divided into two parts. One, two-sector economy and second, three-sector economy. Two-sector economy further includes circular flow without saving and circular flow with saving, as well as investment. Let's start with circular flow of income in a closed economy, that is two-sector economy without saving. First, we shall start with assumptions. first assumption is that economy consists of two sectors, namely households and businesses. Here we will not consider government. Here we will only consider two sectors, that is households and business firms. Next assumption is that production takes place only in the business firms. Third assumption is that households spend their entire income which is received in the form of rent, wages, interest and profits on goods and services. So hence there is no savings. Next assumption is that business firms supply goods and services as per the demand in the economy. This means that they do not maintain any inventory. By inventory, I mean it does not maintain any stock of goods or it does not store goods. Next assumption is that there exists no government operations. This is obvious. Why? Because it's a two-sector economy and it includes only business and households. So there is no government and hence there is no government expenditure as well as taxes. One last assumption is that there is no international economic relations. So therefore there is no outflow as well as inflow of goods and services, thus making the economy a closed economy. Students, this is the diagram of circular flow in a closed economy, that is two-sector economy without saving. This is the diagram. Let's understand more about this diagram in our next slide. Now let's start with the explanation of the diagram. As you can see towards the right, households. Okay, we'll start with the households first. Households represents the left hand side rectangle. Can you see there are two types of rectangles? One to the left hand side is of households and one to the right hand side is of firms, right? So first left hand side rectangle is of households and right hand side rectangle is of firms. Now factor services flow from household to firms. So can you see this part? The outer circle part, that is the upper half of the circular flow. This represents factor services, right? That is factor services that includes labor, land, capital and entrepreneur, that is moving from household to firms. So in return, what is the duty of the firm? The duty of firm is to pay back households, that is nothing but factor income. So factor income flow from firms back to the households. Can you see this part? Yes. So this part is where the firms are paying back factor incomes, which includes wages, rent, interest and profits to the households. There are two types of market, factor market and commodity market. So in the circular flow of income, the upper half part of the circular flow represents factor market, while the lower part of circular flow represents commodity market. As we know, there exists two types of flow, that is real flow and money flow. So in this diagram, the outer circle, okay, the outer circle, can you see the outer circle? That represents the real flow. So which includes factors of production as well as flow of goods and services. So the outer lining of the circle represents the real flow. Next is money flow. Money flow is represented by the inner circle, which includes factor payments or factor income and payments of goods and services. Circular flow of income is a combination of both the markets, that is factor market and commodity market. Now households supply factors of production in the form of land, labor, capital and entrepreneurship to the firms. And in return, firms convert these factor services into the finished products, that is goods and services, and these goods and services are flown back to the households. So can you see the circular flow goes on continuously. Firms pay money income, that is in the form of rent, wages, interest, profits to the households, which is received by the households. Now in turn, what will households do with this money? The households will buy the goods and services which is required for daily consumption. So in turn, they will spend the money that they have received from the firms, okay, to buy the goods and services. So therefore, the money that is paid by firms to households is returned back to the firms, right? So this completes the entire circular flow of income. Now let's start with the next answer, that is circular flow of income in a closed economy, that is a two-sector economy with saving and investment. So here again, because we have said it's a two-sector economy, so it includes households as well as firms. But only addition here is that it also includes financial market. So because we have said that it includes saving and investment, so where will the savings and investment take place? Obviously in financial markets, through financial markets, right? That is financial sector, which includes commercial banks, stock market, etc. We need to understand two important concepts. One is about leakages, also called as withdrawals. So what is a leakage? When households and firms save a part of their income, it is regarded as a leakage. So which is the type of leakage? Leakages include savings, tax payments as well as imports. Leakages reduce the flow of income. Second concept that we need to understand is about injections, also called as additions. So when savings are ultimately spent in the form of investment, they are called as injections. So that means when we households save, okay, we do not save the entire amount of our income. What do? We spend a little bit, while a little bit is also invested, right? So this means we are introducing income back into the circular flow. That is why it is called as injection. Injections include investments, government spending as well as exports. Injections increase the flow of circular income. This is the diagram of circular flow in a closed economy, that is two-sector economy with saving and investment. The difference here, as you can see, is that it includes capital market as well, right? That is financial market, in addition to households and firms. So here, saving is a form of leakage. We've already understood what is a leakage. So saving that is in the form of leakage is injected back into the circular flow in the form of investment. Both saving as well as investment flows between the households as well as the firms, which takes place through financial market or the financial sector. Now let's understand saving investment identity. In a simple economy where there is no government nor foreign trade, the national income of such an economy, okay, includes the value of output produced is equal to the value of output sold. Now this value of output sold includes the sum of, that is total of C, that is consumption expenditure, and investment spending, that is I. So here in the equation, Y is equal to C plus I. That is, Y stands for national income, C stands for consumption expenditure, and I stands for investment spending. So here further, the step 1 we have already understood. Let's go continue and study further to step 2, that is the equation 2. As we know, the income which is received by the household is in the form of wages, interest, rent and profit. So what do we do with this income? This income is either allocated to consumption or saving. So that is, whatever income we receive, we either consume it or we either save it, right? So here in the equation, Y is equal to C plus S, right? Y, as we know, stands for national income, C stands for consumption expenditure, and S stands for saving. Now if we combine equation 1 and equation 2, we will get equation 3. So by combining, what do? We will place Y. Since Y is common here, so we will place Y in the middle. Okay, and to the left of Y, we will write equation 1, that is C plus I, and to the right of Y, we will write C plus S from equation 2. And this is how we will get our equation 3. Let's further understand about equation 3. Now in this equation 3, we have left hand side and we have right hand side. The left hand side of equation 3 shows components of demand, that is consumption expenditure and investment spending. While the right hand side of equation 3 shows allocation of income to consumption and saving. Now if we subtract consumption, why we are subtracting consumption? Because consumption is common in equation 1 and 2. So if we subtract consumption from equation 1 and 2, we will get Y minus C is equal to I. Further, Y minus C is equal to S. That is, I is equal to S. That forms our equation 4. So thus equation 4 shows that in a simple economy, is always in equilibrium when I is equal to S, that is investment is equal to saving. Next question is circular flow in a closed economy, that is a three-sector economy. In a modern economy, the government plays a major role. It decides various policy measures. Government receives income in the form of taxes. We households as well as the business firms pay taxes, and this reduces our disposable income. Disposable income is the income which is in the hands of the public. It further reduces our savings as well as our spendings, that is expenditure. In a three-sector economy, leakages or withdrawals are in the form of taxes, while on the other hand, injections takes place in the form of government expenditure, that is government spending by providing various public services or public utilities for the development of the economy. And it also takes place in the form of transfer payments, that is pensions. This is the diagram of a circular flow in a closed economy, that is a three-sector economy. As you can see here, there are three sectors, that is households, firms and government. So government is an addition which makes up the three-sector economy. Let's understand this diagram in much detail in our next slide. In a three-sector economy, households and firms pay taxes, and this becomes income to the government. In return, government pays transfer payments. That is, transfer payments include pension payments, subsidies, unemployment allowances and much more. Government also purchases various goods and services for the upliftment of the society. Thus, government spends money which is ultimately received by households and firms. Further, leakages takes place in the form of savings and taxes, which takes place in the circular flow of income. These leakages are injected back in the circular flow in the form of investment and government expenditure. Further, you can see an equation. Now in the equation, the left hand side includes injections while the right hand side includes leakages. So when the injections in the form of investment and government expenditure are equal to leakages in the form of savings and taxes, we say that the flow of economic activities goes on smoothly. So what do you think, students? Is government tax revenue always equal to government expenditure? That is, G is equal to T. Think. Rightly said. Not necessary. Why? That is because it all depends on the type of budgetary policy the government adopts. So if the government adopts a balanced budgetary policy, then government's expenditure will always be equal to its revenue. That is, G will always be equal to T. But if the government adopts a deficitary budgetary policy, that is where in its expenditure is more than its revenue. So in this case, what will happen? G will be more than T. So what is required? The required situation is that the economy requires net injections. This further will lead to expansion of circular flow. And the third case is wherein the government adopts a surplus budget policy. So when the government adopts this type of policy, its expenditure is less than its revenue. That is, G is less than T. So in this case, what is required? The requirement is of net withdrawal from the economy, and this will further lead to reduction of circular flow. Circular flow in an open economy or four-sector economy. Students, why do you think every economy or every country needs a fourth sector? By fourth sector, I mean a foreign sector. Think. This is because we need to promote export and import of goods and services. And not only export and import, but also foreign investments, lending, borrowing, and much more. So this is the reason there is a need of the fourth sector, that is foreign sector. Let's understand this in much detail. Whenever there is a fourth sector present, there will always be inflow and always be outflow of money. That is inflow and outflow of money. So whenever there is inflow of money in the economy, that is money is coming inside the economy, this will take place through the exports of goods and services, as well as we investing abroad, as well as through borrowings. Secondly, money will go out, that is outflow of money. This takes place through activities like imports, that is whenever we import any good or a service, or when we invest abroad, or we lend to different countries whenever their need arises. So all these activities constitute the fourth foreign sector, that is the fourth sector, which is also called as an open economy. Fourth sector economy is an open economy where it deals with the rest of the world. Let's understand assumptions. First assumption is that households and firms deals with the rest of the world. So it is only the household and firms which will deal with the rest of the world. Households and firms will be involved in export and import of goods and services. Further, households will export their labor services and in return receive remittances. Remittances are the payments that household will receive because they are rendering their labor service. Fourth one is firms will be involved in export and import of goods and services. Last assumption is that both households and firms will have a net export, that is X minus M, export minus import. Now this net exports could be either positive or negative. If export is more than import, then this will result in increase in circular flow. On the other hand, if export is less than import, then this will reduce the circular flow. And last case is if export and import both are balanced, then circular flow of income will remain unaffected. This is the diagram of circular flow in an open economy or four-sector economy. As you can see here, we are having households, business firms, government, financial market, and the fourth sector here you can see towards the left is the open economy, also called as world economy, which can be seen through these transactions of net export. Let's understand this diagram in detail. So as we know, a four-sector economy or an open sector economy includes households, business firms, financial markets, government, and foreign sector, that is world economy. Hence, if savings equals to investment, government spending equals to taxation, and if export equal to import, then we say that there is equilibrium in all the sectors in the economy. Students, as we know that in real world, in every economy, there are numerous markets and there are several different kinds of leakages that take place. Therefore, it is very difficult to have a simultaneous equilibrium in all the markets. Let's understand the importance of circular flow of income. 1 is smooth functioning of economy. So students, after studying this topic, we have understood that we get a clear-cut picture of the entire economy. We know whether the economy is functioning efficiently or whether there is some kind of obstacles or disturbances in its smooth functioning. Second is finds out leakages in circular flow. So after studying this topic, students, we have understood what is the meaning of leakage and which are the different types of leakages such as savings, imports, taxes. Third is it highlights the importance of monetary and fiscal policies. So after studying this topic, we have also understood that government also plays an important role. Government along with the central bank also plays an important role in stabilizing monetary and fiscal policies so as to bring about equality between its income as well as expenditure, further leading to smooth functioning of the economy. Next importance of circular flow of income is that it creates a link between producers and consumers. Now, it is through the income that the producers or the business firms receive, they are further able to buy the services of various factors of production, that is, buying the services of households. So, the income that the households receive, they are then further able to purchase the various goods that are produced or supplied by the producers. Further, last importance is creation of network of markets. Now, this is possible because there is a link between producers and consumers. So, this link has created a network of markets for various different types of goods and services, thus further solving the problems related to sale and purchase, that is buying and selling